Seems like only yesterday we were pulling out of this marina, making the same journey with Northern Boy. And here we are with Northern Light on our way down to the tunnel to do some painting. As you can see, we've done some additional preparation before we took the wheelhouse down in that area, just to help save time, and we could utilise having the wheelhouse to cover it whilst it was dry. The tunnel we use is a charity. It's Peter Le Marchant. They're just outside Loughborough, and we hire the tunnel. You can hire it on a daily or weekly basis. It's about £210 a week to hire. It's a really good facility for us. It's not perfect. It does have the odd leak in the roof, and sometimes struggle with condensation, but all in all, it's an absolute lifesaver when it comes to the rain.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but this is why we come in the tunnel to paint. I don't know if you can see that or hear that, but it's raining.
Some videos on YouTube on how to paint the boat, and it shows you quite often people rollering on and then laying off to get this lovely glass finish on the side of the boat. And we did that on Northern Boy, and we used these types of rollers. They're like a high density roller you get from Screwfix or B&Q. They're good, but the problem is they leave tiny little air bubbles in the paint, which gives you a little mottled effect, and that's why you have to lay it off. But then we found these rollers. These rollers say oil-based gloss. We found them in B&Q, and we found that when we actually roller on with these rollers, we don't need to lay it off because there's no air bubbles and it is super flat. It doesn't necessarily give you the same mirror image that you get by laying off, but it's a really good flat shiny finish, and we're more than happy with it. If we have a mirror finish, then as we're going along and we get a slight mark in it, you can find that it's almost impossible to touch that up. It's like trying to touch a mirror up. But if you have just a nice flat shiny surface, which is done by these rollers, it will be easier to touch up in the future as well. Being able to take the portholes out saves you so much time. I know it's a time to get the portholes in and out, but when you're doing a lot of coats, it's much easier, and you don't get the line marks around the portholes. With regards to how many coats the boat has, because a lot of people do ask, we try, there's the red oxide, then we will do a multimarine primer, then we will do an undercoat, then we look at probably 4 layers of the top coat. You have to try and remember that painting a boat's a big job, but the vast majority of it is the labour. It takes a long time. So don't skimp on the paint. Use a good quality. Don't particularly recommend anyone in particular, but don't use plain paint. Use paint specially adapted for canal boats, or Rylards and Epivanes, International, because cutting corners and saving £100 can end up costing you thousands in labour, having to rub something down and do it all again. One of the places people come unstuck a little bit with painting the boats is they try and apply masking tape to paints that ain't exactly dry. We've heard numerous stories where lovely paint jobs, and the last thing they do is they pull the tape off and it pulls the paint off underneath. We mask on the roof with that frog green tape. I don't know if it's any better than normal, but we use it. It leaves a nice sharp edge. And when we put the masking tape onto the roof there, remember that paint was painted 3 weeks ago when we prepared the boat. So there's no chance of it pulling off. And then when we pull it off, hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a nice clean line where it's not lifting the paint that it was actually stuck to. We use Epivanes paint, no particular reason. I think they're averagely priced. We did use a little bit of Craftmaster, back on Northern Boy, but the colours we wanted are all in the Epivanes range. We had to have the anthracite colour specially mixed to match the colour of the anthracite wheelhouse, so you can get any colour mix that you want. You can see on the roof that the mid-grey blocks, they're just Epivanes paint with international anti-slip beads added to give it like a slightly rougher texture to stop you slipping on the roof. It doesn't give you such a gritty surface that you can't wipe it, but it gives you a nice grippy surface that you can walk about on even when it's wet without slipping. This was literally the day we were going to leave the tunnel. I think I said before, you kind of go a bit paint crazy after a week of doing this. So for all we still had work to do on the area underneath the solar panels, and we want to do more painting on the bow and the rear of the boat, we just decided to leave and come back and do it at a later date. Since receiving the boat a year ago, we've always had slight concerns with regards to the design, and in particular the height of the wheelhouse surround. We were worried about low bridges and tunnels. This is just outside Loughborough, and we think these are quite small bridges and we're still okay getting underneath them. Maybe in the future we're going to have issues at a certain tunnel or something, we're not quite sure, but we think we're okay. We just have to be a little bit more careful because of that slight upstand of the wheelhouse. I'm going to shut up now and let Lynn drive us home back to the marina. Not sure, is it drive, is it sail, is it cruise? Never quite sure, but either way she's going to get us safely back in the marina.